Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Bernie here along with Sean.
What's up?
And today, guys, we're, of course, bringing you the NFC part of this discussion where we're doing our NFC predictions, talking about who's going to be first, second, third, and, of course, the honorary last place in the division. Of course, like we talked about the AFC division, we talked about, of course, the Baltimore Ravens, Tennessee Titans, and many other teams of that nature. But, Sean, today we are focused on the NFC, and what better way to start off the NFC with, of course, probably one of the worst divisions in maybe all of football in this one is, of course, the NFC East. Of course, you have the Dallas Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, the Redskins. Sean, let's start off with, of course, what do you think about this division and how it's going to pan out?
Yeah, so I mean, the NFC East is consistently one of the most overhyped divisions in football. I think it's just because, Dallas Cowboys, America's team, the Eagles draw a lot of attention. Of course, the Giants are a big market team as well. So as far as this division goes, it's going to be competitive, but I don't think any of the teams are going to be superbly good where they're going to be making a Super Bowl run. And so I guess the way I'd started off here is by saying who's going to be in fourth place. And for me, I think that's going to be the Washington Redskins. I don't think they have a quarterback right now. They have Dwayne Haskins, and, I think he's worse than Daniel Jones. If you just look at the stats, Daniel Jones had like a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, and Dwayne Haskins had a 1-to-1. So I just don't see a lot of improvement there. Definitely their defense will be a lot better, but I just really don't see them making any big steps to get out of the bottom of the division. But hopefully maybe they'll be able to draft like Trevor Lawrence or something. So we'll see if they'll be able to fix it a year from now.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. I think the fourth place team has to be the Washington Redskins. Their roster is particularly nothing special. I mean, there's some pieces on defense. Of course, Chase Young, who they drafted this year. They have Kerrigan, who is not a bad player. But their quarterback is definitely what's going to break the team. And even looking at their wide receivers, there's like no one there where I'm confident that they're going to be able to do anything, that Dwayne Haskins is going to be able to do anything. I mean, they have Jordan Reed, but Jordan Reed always gets hurt. Actually, no, he is not on the team anymore. I mean, that's the thing. Like, this team has no players that anybody that's just a regular casual fan recognizes on their roster, and there's no one on there that's inspiring. I mean, ever since they won the Super Bowl years back and even tried to contend for another playoff run, the Redskins have just not had the pieces. They haven't had the front management to get them over the hump and to get them the pieces to even contend for a playoff spot or even contend to be first in the division. It feels like they're going to be in that purgatory of always being in that third or fourth place each and every year because, one, they're not drafting very well, and two, the free agents that they're bringing in aren't really producing to what is standard for a team that was once had some great players at one point.
Will Alex Smith ever be back?
I mean, that's the thing. I'm not sure. I mean, we watched that ESPN 60 on it, or at least I did, and that's a gruesome injury, and I don't think he's going to recover. I mean, that's a really tall ask. I mean, he almost lost his leg taking that sack. So it's a question of, do you think that, are you banking on Alex Smith returning? Because I think that that's the wrong way to do it. Although I love Alex Smith, he's from my alum, University of Utah. It doesn't matter. The thing is that if Alex Smith isn't going to return, you're going to have to start moving forward to the future. And I think maybe this is where you're going to see a lot of teams try and tank for Trevor Lawrence.
I agree with that. So, I mean, I guess this will bring us to who I have in third place, and I think it's no surprise here that it's going to be the New York Giants. I'm not a big believer in Danny Dimes. He does have, good wide receivers all around him. He's got Golden Tate, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. Tate's been one of my favorite receivers ever since he entered the NFL as a Seahawks fan. It's really going to be up in the air, but I just don't see them, they didn't make enough improvements on the defensive side of the ball to really do anything. I mean, sometimes quarterbacks have that sophomore year slump. We'll see if Danny Dimes is able to step his game up. But as far as, being able to compete with the Eagles and Cowboys, I just don't think they'll be able to do that just yet. So, I mean, I think I'm going to have them sitting in third place in their division. I just don't see them being able to make a step up.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you with the New York Giants. I mean, it just depends on how you believe Danny Dimes to be. Do you believe he's going to be an average quarterback or an Eli Manning-esque type of quarterback where He'll sneak you into the playoffs, and maybe then you might be able to make a playoff push. But they don't have the defense that Eli Manning had when he won his 2 Super Bowls. So it's kind of a question of they're going to have to start rebuilding the defense. I like some of the pieces that they picked up on defense. Their defense isn't too bad, but at the same time, it's not something special. They need to keep working on it. They need to keep looking at what they can do to improve and make better. But offensively, like you said, they have a lot of pieces. It's all about, can Evan Ingram stay healthy? And, can Sterling Shepard and many of these other players that are helping out there, they have some good pieces for Danny Dimes to not go through that sophomore slump, which I don't think he will. I think he'll probably stay about where he's at today, which is kind of average or below average. And of course you have Saquon Barkley, who's the home run hitter as a running back. I mean, he's either going to home run or bust. And it's about, is the offensive line there enough for the New York Giants to even have Saquon Barkley make an impact? Because I feel like if he's able to make the impact that he's supposed to make, that they drafted him for, then I think we're going to see them maybe go for a run-heavy offense, and then Danny Dimes kind of does a play action and gets some wide receivers open.
If Danny Dimes is able to, really spread out the ball and make some plays, a healthy Saquon Barkley, who, in my opinion, when healthy, is the best running back in football, and I think he's better than McCaffrey. They could actually make a big leap here, but I think it's all going to come down to Daniel Jones. Is he able to kind of take that next step? He threw 24 touchdowns, 12 picks. That's a pretty good stat line for his first year starting. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I think Danny Dimes is going to be an okay quarterback. I think he's basically kind of looked at, in my opinion, as someone who's going to be the Eli Manning successor, like just basically an Eli Manning 2.0, in my opinion, where you're going to have some years where he's just going to frustrate the hell out of you by throwing more picks than touchdowns. He's going to have some years where they might make a miraculous playoff push and they get a championship maybe out of it. Maybe I won't go that far, but he's definitely a player that I could see having that Eli Manning-esque type of impact where all of a sudden he's in the playoffs and he's dangerous. He's going to be like the next Joe Flacco in that essence, where in the regular season he's kind of okay, but maybe in the playoffs he's going to be some sort of Tom Brady-esque quarterback.
Yeah, it's possible. I wouldn't put him as far as Tom Brady, but
let's move on to the second place team, and I'm going to go first this time. I think the second place team is going to be actually the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that when I look at the Philadelphia Eagles and their roster, the main concern I have is not the talent on any of the teams. I like Miles Sanders. He helped me a lot in fantasy football, so I appreciate him for that. But when it comes to all these receivers, all these weapons, even on defense, it doesn't matter. I feel like all that's out the window. The real question is going to be, can Carson Wentz stay healthy? Because that's been the knock on him ever since he came to the league and ever since he got his first injury. It seems that there's been injury after injury that keeps affecting Carson Wentz from performing and playing at the level that we thought that he was going to. When he first came in as a rookie, we were very excited. We thought that he was going to be, maybe we thought the Eagles were going to be in the next dynasty, if you will. The fact that they were playing so well, they had so many good weapons. But like I said, I think my whole opinion of how the rankings are going to come down is basically based on health. And I think that if the quarterback's not healthy, your team is screwed. Even if you like Miles Sanders, even if you like a lot of these players, especially, with Deshaun Jackson returning to the team, I'm just not convinced that Carson Wentz is going to stay healthy enough to get them to the first place and a title win for the division in the NFC East. So I'm going to have Philadelphia Eagles at 2. What do you think about that?
I'm going to disagree. I think the Cowboys are going to. Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I think the Cowboys are going to come in second here because I just think Doug Peterson is a better coach than Mike McCarthy. I think we saw it down the stretch. You have a good point about, can the Eagles stay healthy? But if they do, I honestly don't think it's close. I think Carson Wentz is a lot better quarterback than Dak Prescott. The Eagles were able to win the division over the Cowboys with, almost every wide receiver injured. And just that alone right there, to me, proves that Doug Peterson knows what he's doing and Mike McCarthy doesn't. Mike McCarthy, he's a Super Bowl winning coach, but he rode Aaron Rodgers' coattail. Oh, I think that Carson Wentz is a really, really good quarterback. I think he's, if he's healthy, he'll be a top 5 quarterback. They added a weapon with Jalen Reagor. Don't know how good he's going to be, but him and Deshaun Jackson, that's a lot of speed, and then a big target in Alshon Jeffrey. it's can they stay healthy? Those position players, Deshaun Jackson seems like he only plays like 12, 11 games a year. Alshon Jeffrey seems like he can't stay healthy, and same with Carson Wentz. But, just putting it here on paper and looking at this division, I think that they're going to be able to pull it off. And I think that the Cowboys, even adding CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, it was never a problem, the weapons that Dak Prescott had around him. He has Ezekiel Elliott, he has Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and now they got CeeDee Lamb. It was never an issue about how good the offense is. I think it's got a lot to do with the coaching, and I think their defenses are pretty equal, but I think the coaching kind of showed last year that even with a healthy Cowboys team and a beat-up Eagles team, the Eagles team was just better. And so, yeah, they added CeeDee Lamb, they got an amazing steal, in my opinion, at that point in the draft. But I think the Cowboys will still, stay in second here, because a healthy Eagles team is going to be superior to the team from last year, and they still beat the Cowboys. So I'm going to trust in Doug Peterson, and I think I don't believe in Mike McCarthy at all. I think he's a subpar head coach.
Well, I think the reason why I'm going with the Cowboys here instead of the Eagles is because I trust the offensive line for the Cowboys a lot more than I do the offensive line for the Eagles. I think that even though they had some retirements on the offensive line for the Cowboys, they've drafted some really good players. I thought that Tyler Badaz, a guy from Wisconsin who I really enjoyed watching his game, someone that I really watched a lot of highlight film on him, because I thought that the Seahawks, which no spoilers, is our favorite team on this. So I thought the Seahawks could really use him. So I really studied his film, studied his game, and I really liked the way that he does. Again, the defensive end, I think that the defense that the Cowboys drafted were very good. They had drafted my boy from Utah, Bradley Anae. Francis Bernard was also picked up by them. I mean, the Cowboys picked up a lot of great pieces, and even Anae was a steal for them. And even Diggs at this point, Trevon Diggs being a corner, I know that was a big need for them. The only issue that I have, though, even though they got Kirk Luther, my only concern about the Cowboys is the safety position, because I think that the safety position is going to be a crucial part. But I think another thing, too, and my caveat is that as long as Dak Prescott signs the franchise tenure or the franchise tag, then I think the Cowboys will obviously win first place. Because even though I don't think Dak is necessarily like this all-amazing quarterback, I think that Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than him. I think that Dak Prescott just stays healthy enough for me and just does enough. He doesn't win or lose a game. He just does enough to get them to where they need to go. Obviously, last year was a different story. I think that that's more due to the health and not really taking care of his body and Ezekiel Elliott. To me, Ezekiel Elliott really looked out of shape, didn't really take care of his body the way he used to. There's a reason why he's not wearing the half shirts anymore. So to me, I think that's the reason why I'm going with the Cowboys. But I mean, it's not by much, right? It's going to be like a 9-7, 8-8 deal. It's not this division. Don't get me wrong, is probably one of the worst in the NFL, because these teams are so inconsistent each and every year that we don't know which team is going to be good, which team is going to be bad. And at the end, I think the Cowboys with Mike McCarthy, I'm not saying that Mike McCarthy is some amazing head coach, but I think he has enough experience and repertoire with Aaron Rodgers and with that Green Bay Packers team that I think it'll carry over. And I think the Cowboys need a tough-minded coach. I know that Aaron Rodgers kind of called out Mike McCarthy for massages during team meetings, but I still think that Mike McCarthy is a tougher coach than clapping Jason Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, but I don't know. I mean, I feel this is a make or break year for Dak Prescott. I think we can both agree on that.
Yes.
They signed Andy Dalton as the backup. Andy Dalton is actually not a terrible QB. And so for me, I think this season is going to end up with Dak Prescott being a free agent and Andy Dalton going to be the starting quarterback for the Cowboys. Wow. But we'll see what happens. I mean, for me, it's just I'm gonna give first place here to the Eagles. I think Carson Wentz, I think he's a top 5 quarterback when he's healthy. Yes, he didn't lead them to a Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl, but he was injured. But I mean, he carried them throughout the season there. And I think when he has healthy weapons around him, I think it's going to be a big difference maker. I just think that Eagles depth and their head coach and Jim Schwartz is a defensive coordinator. I think it's a strong leadership to have. And I just don't trust the Cowboys. They've always been inconsistent. And I think it's because Jerry Jones falls in love with players who aren't that good. And, it just ends up kind of backfiring on him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you with the Jerry Jones part. I think that he does a little too much coddling with some players and not coddling enough with other players. And he likes to be involved in the general manager business. I mean, he is the GM after all. And I think the problem with that is because he's not really he knows football. I'm not going to deny his football knowledge, but at the same time, there's other guys that have studied this game a lot more, guys that actually have experience with today's players. I feel like Jerry Jones is decades behind what it used to be. But like I said, just to kind of recap what we had, for me, I had the Redskins, I had the Giants, I had the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys. Sean, who did you have again?
Redskins, Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. Eagles taking first.
All right, guys, and let us know in the comment section down below, who do you guys think is going to be the number one team in the NFC East? Like we talked about, is it the Cowboys, the Eagles, or can maybe one of the teams below them, like the Redskins or the Giants, surprise us?